sports all plays. Yeah. All sports all plays. All sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports all plays.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Easy Money, a sports betting show, Tuesday, December 5th, 2023. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Tony Gonzalez. How's it going?
Going pretty good. Not too bad.
I did not do real well with my picks last night. I mean, I could have been worse, but definitely could have been a little better.
I did pretty bad.
I was at 4-5. I had the NFL game. I'm right. I had the Bengals. I took the Bengals plus the 10. I'm not going to sit here and say I thought the Bengals was going to win the game. I said it yesterday on the show. I thought Jaguars would win, but I thought it would be a close game. I thought the Bengals defense would be able to keep the Bengals in the game. It wasn't that. It was the Bengals offense because neither defense really made a whole lot of plays like last night's game. Bengals kind of helped keep Jacksonville in that game a little bit with trying to do that damn trick play where they had the wide receiver throw the ball, and that basically gave the Bengals some points because you gave them the ball right there in almost the red zone, which that play didn't make sense to me. I don't have a problem with doing like the trick plays like that and a wide receiver passing, but in that situation, it didn't make sense. For one, you're like at your own 25 or 30-yard line, but the other, your quarterback had only thrown one incomplete pass the whole game at that point. So why take the ball out of his hands when he's hot? I don't understand if your quarterback was struggling throwing the ball, especially since you're on your backup quarterback. But Browning last night, I mean, hell, he looked like a damn Pro Bowl quarterback.
He only missed like 5 or 6, 7 passes. He missed all night long.
Yeah. So I thought that play call was a little bad, but Bengals was able to end up winning the game in overtime. Of course, Jacksonville. Now you have concerns about Trevor Lawrence. Good news is I guess it's only an ankle sprain. I mean, don't get me wrong, ankle sprain can be serious, can take you out a few weeks, but the way that looked, I thought there was a good chance he was done for the rest of the season. I thought he might have tore something because it looked like his ankle turned as well, but they're saying an ankle sprain week to week. I mean, it could be 2-3 weeks. It could be a little bit longer. It might be a little shorter. Just a lot of it depends on how much pain you're in when you're trying to. But one thing, real quick, before we do get in the games, I want to talk about is why the hell didn't they put him on a cart?
Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
Which I was watching the game with Stevie and me, and I said, "What are they doing?" I said, "You're telling me there's no cart in this stadium that they can cart the dude back? You have a security guard and one other guy trying to help him walk."
Yeah, and they struggled.
Yeah, that didn't make no sense at all. This is your franchise quarterback, and you just leave him out. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I couldn't believe they didn't put him on a cart to get him back to the locker room. And it seemed like that walk took for fucking ever. Because they kept showing him walking. It's like, damn, this dude's been walking for 5 minutes now. So that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But big win for Cincinnati. I mean, not that I think they're going to make the playoffs, but I do think that's a big win for them to try to keep that team's morale up since Burrow's out. And hell, it's the first game Browning's won since 2018.
Well, Browning plays like that, they might have a chance to make playoffs. I mean, I don't know that they would go anywhere, but I mean, they are 6-6.
Yeah, but they're going to lose next week.
Well, hopefully.
They're going to lose next Sunday to the Colts.
That's at Cincinnati. I hope we're ready to play.
It's going to be interesting. We got to get by the game we have this weekend first, but hey, what's going on, Glenn? How's it going, Don? Don said he won 500 on Pacers yesterday. He had Pacers at the +5. I had the Pacers at the +5, 5.5 is what I gave out as my pick. I had that right. I didn't have I had the over in that game, which one of the few Pacer games that hasn't hit the over.
Yeah, no, they played pretty good defense.
So I went 1-2 in NBA. I had the Kings at the -3.5, and the Pelicans. Kings could look good in the first quarter, and then after that, the Pelicans took control of that game. I went 1-2 in hockey last night, and 1-1 in college basketball. So 4-5 on the night.
I know Glenn was at the game last night. He's got to be pretty excited. He goes to a lot of Pacer games. That's a big win. I mean, let me ask you, is it a big win? I mean, I think it's good because they're a young team. It probably means more to them than it does the Boston Celtics. I mean, honestly, at this time of year. Boston's been in the playoffs. Their thing is to win a championship. Pacers are trying to prove themselves and get better, but I think maybe trying to prove themselves that they belong, maybe kind of important. What do you think?
I think it was a big win for a couple of reasons. One, I mean, it was an in-season tournament game. I know it's a new thing. How important is it really, the in-season tournament? It seems like the players are taking it pretty serious because, I mean, you watched both those games last night. Both teams were bought in and really playing hard. All four teams that we saw play last night. And I think tonight's games are going to be like that. But the main reason I think it was a big win is because the last two times the Pacers have played the Celtics, got whooped. I mean, got beat by like 50 last time they played them, I think. And then the time before that, I mean, they've got whooped. So I think it's a big game in confidence for the Pacers to kind of prove to themselves, hey, we can play with anybody in this league when we step up, if we step up and play defense. And that was the difference in the game. Like Glenn said right here, their closeout defense was best he'd seen all year. Yeah. Their defense, especially in the second half of that game, in the fourth quarter there, I thought was great. And then Tyrese Halliburton just keeps proving that he's one of the best point guards in the league right now. With the way he's shooting the ball and in his passing, his assist, had that triple double last night. And you're talking about a guy that hadn't been healthy, didn't play Saturday because of being sick, and then was questionable for last night's game. He said after the game, the first half, he was having trouble breathing. Said that he gave credit to the training staff that they got his inhaler and some other stuff, and he felt he could breathe a lot better in that second half. But no, I think it's a big win. Mainly, I mean, one, you want to advance in this tournament because, I mean, if the Pacers could, now you're in the semifinals, if you can win this tournament, that gives you some momentum. But just the way you had lost to the Celtics a couple times that you have played them, I think it's big to show, hey, just because it gives your team some confidence. One thing I did like was just how close the Pacer team seems. I mean, did you see that? Did you see the bench going crazy after every bucket, every play in that game last night? And it's been a while since we've seen a Pacer that on the Pacers sideline.
I agree. I think they're a lot better team than they were last year. I thought they were going to be with some of the pickups they made and the drafting that they did. They're deep. If their defense can continue to get better, I think they could be a dangerous team in the playoffs. I'm not saying that they're going to the finals. I'm not saying that, but I think they could be a dangerous team in the playoffs.
Oh, I agree. Before we jump into the games, Damien has a question. It says, don't y'all think if Florida State isn't eligible to be in the playoffs because strength of schedule, Michigan shouldn't be in it either because they really haven't faced anybody other than Ohio State, Penn State, and Iowa. Well, the first, I think Michigan deserved to be in there, but you said they haven't played anybody, but then you named 3 teams. But the other thing is about it is Florida State did not get in because of their strength of schedule. That's not what the committee is saying that held them out.
They're saying the injury.
The reason they didn't get it, the reason they're using that they didn't get in was because of their quarterback being hurt, and that's one of the criteria. And they went by, if you look at it, they went by the criteria. I can see a lot more. I can see a lot more where you're complaining about it if Florida State, or not Florida State, but if Alabama would have been ahead of Texas, or Texas didn't get in, and Florida State didn't get in, then they kept Florida State out. You could say, hey, you went by the criteria that you're telling us on Florida State, but you didn't with Texas because head-to-head is supposed to be one of the criteria. So, I mean, if you look at the criteria that they've been saying that they were going to go by, they went by it. They put Florida State ahead of Alabama, or not Florida State, Texas ahead of Alabama, which personally, I know Texas beat Alabama, but I think Alabama's the better team. I think Alabama should have been 3, but they put Texas ahead of them, and then they went by the criteria where if you have a significant injury, where a player's out that affects the performance of your team in the regular season, or could affect your performance of the team in the playoffs, that was part of it, and that's, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I mean, I think they got the best. I think they got the. I don't know if they got the best 4 teams in, but I don't. I think it should have been Texas or Georgia. I still think Georgia should have been in. I don't know if you're the number 1 team all year. You only lose 1 game, which is an SEC championship game against Alabama. To me, it's hard to fall all the way to 6. Yeah. But I think Georgia, and I told you this, I thought either Georgia or Texas should be in over Florida State. But by going by the criteria, the thing that didn't make sense is that they had Florida State ahead of Georgia. Damien, I understand what you're saying. So what are backup QBs for? But it all depends on what is the committee trying to do? Are they trying to get the most deserving teams in, or what they feel are the 4 best teams? The problem here is the system. The college football playoff system has been terrible. It used to be a computer chose the 2 teams that played for a national championship. Then you went to this 4-team thing where you have like 13 people in this committee. Hell, it's hard to get 2 people to agree on something, let alone get 13 people to agree on something. And everybody, and I mean, I'm gonna watch a game and I'm gonna think a team is better than this team, and you might watch that same teams play, and your opinion might be opposite. So I mean, the system to me is the problem.
I agree. But like you said, they started as soon as he got hurt. The committee started covering the bases. I don't know why anybody's really surprised it was the Florida State's out, because they started saying about the players being hurt. As soon as this happened, they started saying that. So they were setting themselves up for that. Right
after he got hurt, what'd I tell you?
I'll be honest.
I told you I thought Florida State was going to get left out after he got hurt.
But I'll be honest with you. I still wonder if he wouldn't have got hurt, if Florida State would have made it. I don't trust the committee.
I think they would have made it, but then everybody would have been pissed because I think they would have took Texas' spot. I think Alabama would have been ahead of Texas.
And then see that. And
then people would have been pissed. People would have been pissed about that. And you know who I want. You know who I've been saying all year. I think the best team in college football is, and who I'd like to see win it is Michigan. But I'll tell you right now, it would not surprise me a bit if Alabama wins it. If Alabama beats Michigan and then wins this playoffs, it would not surprise me if they play line of scrimmage like they did against Georgia. They can be anybody.
Yeah, after the first quarter, they knocked Georgia off the ball. They did. That's just a fact.
And I've always been a Harbaugh fan. He played with the Colts for a little bit, but I've always been a Harbaugh fan. I think he's a good coach.
I'm Big Ten.
And yeah, I'm a Big Ten. I'm an IU fan, but I'm a Big
Yeah.
Ten fan. But I like to.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat. It's hard to. I mean, we don't get a chance. Hopefully, this new coach at IU. I think IU hired a good guy. So I think the program will get turned around. How much? It's hard to tell because in this area you're in, a lot of it's is how much money are you going to is your boosters and stuff going to spend, and is IU going to spend that kind of, you know what I mean, are we going to get that kind of money there? But the way Alabama's been playing, man, it wouldn't surprise me if they won it. And I think Georgia was one of the best 4 teams too. So I mean, and one thing that could have hurt Georgia a little bit. They had a couple of their big players hurt. Brock Bowers was playing. You know, I mean, if you see Brock Bauer playing playing in that game against Alabama, he was limping on one leg. They had another one of the other big name players that was kind of hurt too. So that could have affected them getting that last spot a little bit.
Well, let me ask you this: let's say if Alabama's quarterback would have got hurt and wasn't playing, do you think it would have affected Alabama as long as they still won the SEC? See, I don't. I think they would have been in the tournament.
If they still won, I think it depends on how they won. Because if Florida State would have won their last 2 games with the backup quarterbacks more in a prettier fashion, I think they would have had a chance. But when you were averaging 40 points a game, and then now you're averaging less than 20, and then Louisville, I mean Louisville should have beat them that game. I mean,
yeah, they should have.
So it's tough, but like I said, to me, it's the system is bad. I think it's going to get. It's going to be better next year now that you do have the 12 teams. Because I mean, if because usually, I mean, I think you're going to get the best teams in there with 12, because you're going to have your 5 or 6 real good teams, and you're going to have your teams that are good teams, but probably aren't the same level as those as your top 5 or 6. So I think honestly, and you know me, I'd have liked to see them start with 6 first, or maybe 8. But even if you went 6 this year, everybody would have been arguing because who would have got left out?
Yeah.
Ohio State going to get left out at 7,
like I said before, I think Ohio State. I'm not saying they should have got in, but they've got an argument. The only team they lost to the last game of the year was Michigan. Yeah. And Michigan's number 1 now. So I mean, I don't think you could you put Georgia over Michigan? I mean, I know they were number 1 all year long, but Michigan was like number 2 all year long, and they beat Ohio State by 3 points, same as Georgia got beat by. So I don't think you could have put Georgia over Ohio State. There'd been an argument.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just, and this is one of the few years in recent memory where there was 5 or 6 teams that were all that you can make an argument for like that. Where, I mean, because if you think about last year, everybody kind of knew who the top 4 was going to be. Of course, this was the last year of the top of the 4, and that it worked out like that. Does it suck? Does it suck for the players at Florida State? Yes. I understand why they're upset, but
I don't blame them.
But I also see both sides of it. I also see what to me, like I said earlier, it comes down. Are you trying to get the ones that you think are the most deserving, or are you trying to get the best teams, or who you feel are the best teams? And it's all subjective. So it's it's a bad system.
Well, and that's the thing when you go best teams, the way the recruiting is, it's hard for some teams to compete then. So if they have a great year and you feel like they deserve it, they probably maybe they should get in because of the recruiting is not fair. I mean, and it might be a little bit better now since you got, it's changed.
Well, hell, look how many players went to the transfer portal yesterday when it opened.
Ohio State's quarterback. That was a shock to me.
Him and
they had 5 or 6 players. Ohio State did,
and then that Gabriel was he the Oklahoma quarterback? I can't remember who he was. I think he was Oklahoma's quarterback, wasn't he? But he entered the portal. I mean, so you're. I've heard that Notre Dame's trying to get that Riley Leonard from Duke. Which I thought he might go to Texas A&M. So it's going. That's one thing college football has to. They've got. I think they got the playoff and going in a better direction. I'm not saying it's going to be a perfect system, but they got to figure out this transfer portal and this NIL stuff. And I'm not saying players shouldn't get money. I think players should get money for their name, image, and likeness, but there has to be some kind of rules on it too, because. And then this transfer portal, you shouldn't be able to transfer every year. See, Damon says Michigan shouldn't even be allowed to be in the playoffs with everything going on with Harbaugh. And I don't even think it was a witch hunt, because if it was, well, why is Michigan in it?
He's served a suspension.
Yeah.
So what do you want? He got a 3-game suspension. He served it. So, I mean, I don't know what else you want.
But then you can go back to the same argument. You can go back to the argument that you're kind of making with Florida State. Then you'd be hurting the players that had nothing to do with it.
Yep.
They think, you know what I mean? They don't have nothing to do if coaches are doing, or if the coach was cheating or whatever. I don't think they have any evidence that proves that Harbaugh, quote unquote, knew that it was going on, and I think that's why it ended up only being that 3-game suspension by the Big Ten. And Big Ten, even when they said that, when Michigan agreed to that suspension, was that there was no proof or no evidence that Harbaugh knew it was going on. We'll find out more about that by the NCAA. But the thing is, NCAA, the way their punishments work, it's always a slow process. So you knew that the NCAA wasn't going to do nothing this season. Yeah. I was surprised Big Ten done what they've done. You don't see that. It usually comes out later, and then if there was something wrong, they'll supposedly take a win away from you, or I mean, we've seen take Heisman's away from people and stuff, but it's always down the road. Yeah. It's never nothing quick with them. But it's going to be interesting. I think Harbaugh is probably going back to the NFL.
He might. And Bears. Damien be thrilled. Yeah. Maybe they have a chance. Have Harbaugh there. You could cheat for him.
I can see. I can see maybe the Bears, or like I said, maybe the Chargers. I think because they have a quarterback. So I can see one of them two teams. I've been wanting them with the Colts for the last couple times we've went for a head coach, but right now I'm happy with the head coach we have right now. So I know that we're not going to be in the Harbaugh chase.
If the Bears get Harbaugh, Damien will be out there doing a happy dance out there in Chicago.
Damien will become a Michigan fan.
He'll be wearing Harbaugh jersey.
Yeah, all to hear be Harbaugh's #1 fan. Yep. We'll send you a shirt that says Harbaugh's #1 fan, David, if he becomes the Chicago coach. Well, and the other thing with that is Michigan is the only team that does what they were accused of.
Damon, if you ain't cheating, you ain't competing, man.
I mean, okay, we can say that Michigan shouldn't belong. So let me ask you this: I know it was NFL, but should Bill Belichick been banned, and should the Patriots some of their Super Bowls and stuff been not counted because how many different?
Yes.
I mean, how many different cheating scandals? But how many different cheating scandals that went on there? With Spygate, Deflategate.
We'll send this out to Jay. What about them cheating Houston Astros? Them cheating mothers.
Don't get Jay going. No. He's not a Harbaugh at all. He said, at first I did, but now with all of this going on, I don't want anything with Jim Harbaugh. I'd rather get like Jim Caldwell or Bieniemy. Oh, yeah, Caldwell's a good coach. Lions should have never fired him when they did. I think Bieniemy's he's a good coach. I can't say he's a good head coach because I haven't seen him as a head coach. But I think I think he's been a good offensive coordinator. If you see what he's done with the Chiefs, I mean, Washington's offense has looked pretty good most of the season. So I'm not, but we haven't seen him as a head coach. So it's hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to say but Jim Caldwell, though, I agree. I like Jim Caldwell shouldn't have been fired by the Colts when he got fired,
Nope.
in my opinion. And then he definitely shouldn't have been fired by the Lions when he got fired. When Caldwell got fired by the Colts, that was, I mean, it wasn't because of his coaching. I mean, hell, we lost our quarterback.
Didn't have a backup either.
Oh, come on now. We have one of the best quarterbacks or backups in the league. That's why we went like 0-16 or 1-16 or
Why
whatever.
would we get somebody from Purdue? Of all places.
Yeah. And yeah, speaking of Purdue, because they pissed me off last night.
Yep.
They're number one, I pick them and they lose. And then last night, I take Iowa at the plus 12.5, and then they kill Iowa. It's like, but let's go ahead and get to the picks. We'll start in NBA tonight. Got two more of the quarterfinals of the in-season tournament. First game is the Knicks at the Bucks. The Bucks are 5-point favorites. That's actually went down a half a point from earlier. And this is on FanDuel. Like I said the other day, look at different books and get the best number if you are going to bet these games. But we just always go off the FanDuel app. That's what I've always just kind of went off of if I'm looking them up. If I'm going to place a bet, I'll look at other books and get the number I like the best. But Bucks are minus 205 on the money line. Knicks are plus 172 on the money line. Over-unders at 229.5. I like the Bucks here at home. I think the Bucks are going to be a little too much for the Knicks, especially with Giannis and Dame both playing. Bucks are not bad defensively either, so I'm going with the Bucks at the minus 5 in this game. And then the next other game tonight, Phoenix Suns at the Lakers. This game starts at 10 o'clock tonight. Lakers are 1.5-point favorites, minus 118 on the money line. The Suns are even money on the money line. Over-unders at 229. I like the Suns here at the plus 1.5. Not sure if Bill's going to play, but Durant and Booker are playing. I'm just not. I'll be honest. I'm not 100% sold on this Lakers team yet. I think they're a little too inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get from Davis from night to night. I think the Suns are going to be able to score with them. So I'm going to go with the Suns at the plus 1.5. So that's going to be my two picks for the NBA tonight.
Yeah, my two NBA picks for tonight. I got New York at Milwaukee. I'll take Milwaukee minus 5, and then I've got Phoenix plus the 1.5 against the Lakers.
Damon says, speaking of FanDuel, since when the hell they start a streaming app and stream games? I knew they did have the app, streaming app, because they have they had a couple shows on there of because and DraftKings has as well, because that's where you can find Dan Le Batard on the if you watch Dan Le Batard, but I just know he's on the DraftKings network. But FanDuel had a couple shows on there. They had I can't remember the lady's name now. Was it Lisa Kearney or something like that? She done like a sports betting show on there and gave out picks.
Yep.
McAfee was part of the FanDuel, but he was never. I don't think he was ever on there like on their streaming thing. I think that was before they got that going. But a lot of these sports books are starting to get them apps like that. Like I said, DraftKings. There's a lot of money in it. Don said he wants to take the Red Wings tonight. My only pick is that good. And he has the Knicks plus 5 and the Suns plus 2. So he's going with opposite me on the Knicks and Bucks, but we're the same on there.
Detroit's minus 130 at Buffalo is what I've got.
Detroit is actually, which we're getting ready to get to. Well, we can go ahead and go to the hockey picks next, and we'll do college basketball after.
Okay.
My hockey picks, I'm taking the Detroit Red Wings on the money line against the Sabres. I'm taking the Rangers money line against the Senators, and I like the Canucks on the money line against the Devils.
Okay, my NHL, and I would be doing this in a parlay. I got 4 teams. I got LA Kings money line against Columbus. I got San Jose at the New York Islanders. I'll take the Islanders money line. Rangers money line at Ottawa, and Anaheim at Colorado. I'll take Colorado money line.
So you didn't take the Red Wings. Do you like? I mean, what do you think about the Red Wings and Senators or Sabres?
I like the Red Wings. They've been playing pretty well this year.
Yeah, the Red Wings is one of my 3 hockey picks. College basketball, I'm going to end up going with 3 games. I'm going with FAU at the -2.5 against Illinois. Yep. Yeah, I like the Rangers against the Senators. Did you?
Yeah, I had the Rangers.
Yep. He said the Rangers was on his list as well. Also, but college basketball, FAU -2.5 against Illinois. I'm taking Oklahoma at home at the -4.5 against Providence. I'm going to take UConn at the -5.5 at home against North Carolina. Them are 2 high-ranked teams. That's going to be my 3 picks for college basketball for tonight.
I am doing college basketball tonight.
And he's taking Kansas State +3. Everybody is on Villanova. Yeah, I'll be honest. Kansas State was almost one of my picks that I gave out, but I end up not going with it. But yeah, college basketball is still a little. It's hard. I haven't got a real good feel on all the teams yet this season. One, I haven't watched enough of it as much as I usually have. I watched a little bit of IU, and I've watched a little, but I haven't watched as much of it yet. Now that once the football starts slowing down, then I start watching more of the college basketball because honestly, I watch more college basketball than I do NBA usually. Other than I watch a lot of the Pacers, but other than that, which I watched some of that Sacramento game last night, and then I'll watch some of these games. I'll probably watch these games quite a bit of these games tonight because really there's no football or anything on, so there's not a whole lot of other stuff on. And I don't believe IU plays tonight. So
I figured you'll be watching that Laker game.
I'll probably watch a little bit of that Laker game, but and I'll probably watch some of the Knicks and Bucks. Oh yeah, once you get in the conference play, that's when I agree, Don. Once it gets to conference play, that's when I like watching it more. Like especially I like watching. I'm a fan of the Big Ten, so and I watch a lot of the Big Ten games. I know a lot of people aren't excited for this. I'm excited because we're getting ready to start getting the Friday night college wrestling back on TV. And I love watching those, especially when we get the 2 dual meets on a Friday night.
Yeah,
but that's pretty much all the games for tonight. It wasn't a real big slate really because you have no college football right now, no NFL tonight. Got NFL on Thursday night, and then college football, you got a game on Saturday, but that's all college football till later on in the month. Which why did they do that? Why do they take so many weeks off?
I don't know.
I've never. I mean, that makes no sense. Let's take almost a month off before we play the bowl games and stuff.
Well, I guess that's why they're going to be able to do the tournament though with 12. When they get the college football, you'll have them 3 weeks, and they'll be using those 3 weeks to play that 12-team tournament.
Well, yeah, I can understand that for next year,
Yeah,
but I'm talking about it's been like that for a while now that they do that. Damien, what's your thoughts on NFL flexing Eagles to prime time? I'm glad they're finally using the flex. I don't understand why you even have the rule that you can flex games and you don't use it. I'm all for try to get what you think is going to be the better games in the prime time because we do. It seems like the last couple of years we've been getting a lot of bad games in prime time. I know from year to year you never know what a team's going to be, so I understand that. But if you have a rule where you can flex teams like that, why not do it?
Okay, Don thinks that Texas is going to kill Washington. I watched Washington play a lot this year. Um, their defense ain't great, but they seem like they make stops when they need to, and they can score points. They got some incredible receivers, got a decent running game, got a good quarterback. I I'm not sure that Texas will blow them out. What do you think, Chris?
I think I think Texas wins the game. I think Texas is going. I think what scares me about the game for Washington is I think Texas is going to be too much on the offense and at the line of scrimmage, offensive line, defensive line. I think they're going to be more physical on the lines. I don't know if they'll blow them out, but I do like Texas in that game. Line's 4.5. I'd like to get it at 4 just because I don't like the hook. I would take Texas at the 4.5. I think Texas. I do think Texas wins the game, uh, but I'd rather get it at a even number than getting the hook. But I think Texas on the lines is going to be the difference in that game. But if that Washington offensive line can give Penix and them receivers some time, it could be a real good game. But I think there's just a difference when you get some of them SEC teams, some of your bigger teams like Alabama, Georgia, Texas. Washington's starting to become a top program. I don't know if they have some of them teams out west don't have them horses on the offensive line and the defensive line, and I think that's going. I think that's going to be the difference in that game.
Well, I think the key is going to be if, like you said, if they can protect Phoenix, the offensive line, where we can throw the ball, I think they could shred that Texas defense. They've got the weapons. So I mean, I'm not saying they're going to shred them. I think they're capable of it. So like you said, it depends on what the Washington offensive line can do. Because I don't think Texas' defense is top notch. I think it's a decent defense. I'm not going to compare them to Alabama or Georgia, but I think they're a pretty good defense.
Oh yeah, they got pretty good, but they got the strength of their defense is their line, I think, and then they got pretty good offense as well,
Yes.
especially with Ewers or however you say his name is being healthy. Yeah, I'm rooting for Michigan, like I said, because that's who I picked early in the year. But it wouldn't surprise me if it's Alabama in Texas in the national championship game. It really wouldn't. But I think Michigan Alabama is going to be a hell of a game. Well, and I don't know if you've seen it, but if you saw Michigan's reaction when Alabama was forward, not Florida State, I mean, you could tell you could tell they wasn't real thrilled about it either.
No, I'm sure they wouldn't.
because they showed their route where they were at the hotel or whatever in Indy, and when they announced it, you could see like shit,
you're freaking number one, and you got to play Alabama.
Yeah,
I mean, how often,
yeah, they wasn't thrilled about that at all. They were definitely was hoping to play Florida State over Alabama, I don't blame them either. But I think that's going to be a heck of a game. And that game, man, is going to come. It's going to come down to who wins the line of scrimmage because Michigan's physical at the line. They want to be physical at the line and try to run the ball. Alabama's showed that how physical they can be at the line in that Georgia game. So I think that's what that game is really going to come down to is who wins. I mean, that's what most games come down to too. Yeah. So, but I think in that game, it's really going to come down to who wins the line of scrimmage and can Michigan's quarterback make some plays if make enough plays if they can't get their running game going. Damon says he thinks Washington wins it all.
I don't know if they're strong enough on the offensive defensive line to do that. Do I think they could beat Texas? Yes, I think they got a chance against Texas. It'd be rough against Michigan or Alabama.
And then Damien also said that he thinks the Texans are going to struggle without Dell.
That's very possible, but they've got Noah Brown, who's come back from injury, and he was really lighting. I mean, he was playing a lot better than Tank was, and then he went down, and then Tank stepped up. So they're going to need. I'm not saying Brown will, but he was doing really well. If he can come back and step up, I think they might be okay, but Brown's got to step up.
I think it's going to hurt them. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's going to hurt them some without Dell. But and I think I said this yesterday about they got some other young receivers that have been playing pretty good. So I think they'll be all right. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the South. The South could get a couple could get 2 or 3 teams in the playoffs. Who would ever thought the AFC South could have 2 or 3 teams in the playoffs?
I don't think we'll get 3. We might got a chance for 2, but I don't think we'll.
Oh man, I'm not saying we're going to get 3, but I mean right now there's a chance that we could.
Yeah.
And then now with Jacksonville losing last night, and then we don't. How long is Lawrence going to be out? And I mean that opens it up for the Texans and the Colts for a chance to try and win that division.
And that's the thing. Out of the last 5 games left, Jacksonville's toughest 2 are the next 2.
Yep.
So, yeah, can that quarterback and step up for them? Maybe. I mean, he might be able to. He's not a terrible backup.
Houston has a little bit better chance at the division, I think, than the Colts, just because Jacksonville basically has a 2-game lead on the Colts right now. Still, because they have the tiebreaker. Because they beat the Colts twice, even though we should have beat them the first time.
I think if Colts want a chance to win the division over Jacksonville, Colts probably couldn't afford to lose another game.
I think they'd have to at least win 4. I think if they won 4 out of 5, they'd have a chance.
Well, if Jacksonville loses 2, that still puts them at 6, and Colts at 6. They have a tiebreaker. Jacksonville's only lost 4 games.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Even if Jacksonville loses 2.
Yeah, but depending on what happens with Lawrence, they might lose more than 2.
That's true. But I mean, I think to have a more legitimate.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I think if they win 4, they'd have a chance. But yeah, if they could win all 5, they have a real good chance
because they play Texans at the end of the year.
Yeah, that Texans and Colts game could mean a lot at the end of the year.
Could be a big game.
All right. Well, do you have anything else before we get out of here for today?
I don't think so. I'm good to go.
All right, real quick. My picks for the year are 698 and 536. Tonight, NBA, I'm going Bucks -5, Suns +1.5. Hockey tonight, Rangers money line, Red Wings money line, and the Canucks on the money line. College basketball, FAU -2.5, Oklahoma -4.5, and UConn at the -5.5.
Okay, my picks for tonight, my NBA picks is the Knicks, the Bucks. I got Milwaukee -5. I've got Phoenix +1.5 at the Lakers. NHL, I've got the LA Kings money line at Columbus. Got San Jose at the Islanders. I'll take Islanders money line. Got the Rangers money line at Ottawa, and I got Anaheim at Colorado. I'll take Colorado money line. That's my picks for the NHL. That's my picks for tonight.
All right. Oh, we had Brian Mooneyhan commenting. He commented on the ASAP feed, but he said the NBA is just getting better, and the Pacers are a fun team to watch. And he says he hopes they all stay together. Oh yeah, I'd like for him to keep this Pacer team together as well.
If Halliburton stays healthy and continues to play like he's playing right now, same level where he's playing right now, could he be an MVP candidate? I think so too. And it's still early though. It's still early.
Oh yeah, like I said earlier, he's right up there as one of the top point guards in the league, and right now, in my opinion.
And he's doing it all.
His dad kills me. His dad kills me on the sidelines. But all right, we'll be back tomorrow around 3:00 with another episode of Easy Money, a sports betting show. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room. Like and follow Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo Sports Room as well. If you missed Gonzo's Wrestling Room last night, go check it out. You can find it on Facebook and YouTube, Twitch at Gonzo Sports Room. We appreciate everybody watching, and we will see you guys tomorrow.